they had this book that was called Are You Star People? They were certain that they were star people, but they weren't sure if me and my brothers and sisters were, so they left the book around in really obvious places around the house with a telescope. And occasionally my mom would say, do you ever feel this longing for an unfamiliar territory, Sufjan? You know, not something within, but something without. Or do you ever just gaze up at the stars, wondering where you came from? And I was like, sure. Sometimes. And she said, do you ever look up into the stars, and you want them to take you away into another dimension, the dimension of the star people? I never really quite understood what they were talking about, because I was a very pragmatic kid, both feet on the ground, you know, and I was the one who paid the bills and balanced the checks and went shopping. My parents were kind of like psychic airheads. But as I got older, I started to realize what they were talking about. And while I was working on a lot of these songs for this new record that I have that we're playing a lot of these songs from, I started to understand my parents more, because a lot of the songs were about space and the cosmos, outer space, but also about inner space, the interior of the human body. And a lot of the songs were sort of built on sounds only, not built on strumming A major and E major, and then singing a melody over it, and then imposing a narrative. It was just about sounds from a synthesizer, or from a drum machine, or a tape echo, or effects pedal. And I would just, loop all this stuff together and create all these sounds. And then from that, I would create this sort of architectural arrangement, and then after the fact, impose the song over it. But a lot of the sounds, maybe because of the adventure of the kind of sonic adventure in the process, a lot of the sounds reminded me of space, outer space. And at the same time, I came across this outsider artist named Royal Robertson. And he was a sign painter and a self-proclaimed prophet, and a minister, and a master of words and a master of the arts. And he lived in Baldwin, Louisiana, in a very, very poor rural town. And he had 12 kids and a beautiful wife named Adele. I never met Royal. He died in 1997, but a friend of mine made a documentary about him, and that's when I learned about Royal's work. And I started looking at a lot of his paintings and his drawings that he did in his spare time. And although he made a living, sort of made a living painting signs for the community, his real passion was art. And he would create all these paintings on poster board, using poster paint and house paint and glitter and magic markers and things like that. And then he would cover his house with his paintings, and he would do paintings on wood, and he would do cutouts of angels, and he was really into comic books, and really into astrology and numerology, and the Bible, and the apocalypse, and outer space. He believed in astral projection, and he believed that he had out-of-body experiences. He would go to sleep at night, and then he would go out of his body and float around town and stuff like that. He could walk through walls, and he had these powers, gymnastic powers. He could do like backflips and things. He was a magic guy. And anyway, when I was working on a lot of these songs, I kind of started to use Royal's paintings and his drawings and his writing as an inspiration. He became my muse for a lot of these songs, because he had schizophrenia. They found out later in life that he had mental illness, and he went crazy. And he started to believe that his own children were bastard children, and that his wife was cheating on him, and the FBI and the CIA were out to get him. And he really thought that he was a messenger from God. And he went crazy and kicked everybody out, and then and basically secluded himself in his house for the last few decades of his life. Which is kind of a sad story. I'm sorry to be such a Debbie Downer about Royal, but he was a very tragic figure. But he had a very beautiful disposition, a very beautiful mind. The people who knew him said he was the sweetest gentleman, even though he suffered from this mental illness. In person, he was actually very, very, very kind and gentle. But his art, actually, the more I studied it, the more I realized his art is really violent and brutal. It's about like meteorological disasters and the end of the world, and even the wrath of God, and the wrath of spaceships, and things like that. So, anyway, I thought he was really cool, so I decided to use some of his art and some of his writings for some of these songs. So, in case you're wondering why this is like some big outer space expedition, pop, adventure, rock, opera, that might give you a little explanation for it. So,